Hey, what's good, everybody? This is your man, Big B Kell, and I'm here today with some info for all of you so-called strong, independent black women out there. I know that your head is more than likely under a dryer at some hair salon, and your eyes are probably glued to a magazine with the Housewives of Atlanta, R&B divas, and all your favorite thugs and thugettes that appear on Love and Hip Hop. But there was a news story that just broke a few days ago that you all need to be focused on. A story out of California about a young man named Elliot Rodger. And this was a young man out in Isla Vista that murdered more than a half a dozen people and left behind a 137-page manifesto about his social shortcomings. And not to get too off track, I just gotta say, damn, because when I was his age, I would get frustrated after turning in a 10-page report. So I know he needed some pussy. But I won't get too humorous on this post because people did die at the hands of this blue balls having asshole. And since the majority of my subscribers are black folks, I want you all to pay attention to a couple of things, especially you black women. I want you all to notice that whenever one of these socially unaccepted airheads snaps and goes on a violent rampage that cost the lives of several white people, he is immediately diagnosed with some sort of mental illness so they can blame the murder weapon that was used in the killing as a de facto accomplice and culprit. Black man, the only time they ever labeled you crazy was when you were fighting for your freedom. Man, that Nat Turner's crazy. Man, that Marcus Garvey's crazy. Man, that Medgar Evers is crazy. And sadly, there was always a large group of no-gros that accepted the diagnosis of racist whites without seeking a second opinion. And see, that's why I don't flinch a muscle when I hear that one of these white boys used advanced New Age methods of barbarism to make himself heard, because we as a community have a sleeper cell of our own that is causing far more damage to us internally. And I'm speaking of the pants-sagging mama's boys who wreak havoc all over our neighborhoods. Yeah, I'm talking about your so-called baby, black woman. The one that plays just as much World of Witchcraft and all those other modern Dungeons and Dragons type games that the white boys who keep resurrecting these Columbine High scenarios do.
Late information coming in after a deadly day at a busy suburban mall. Gunfire sending hundreds of shoppers running in fear and leaving 3 people dead. SWAT teams rushing to the scene surrounding the mall. Shoppers who ran for cover, many for the exits, were guided by police on the scene, some of them loaded into buses to get them to safety. In the parking lot afterward, the reunions, family members who'd escaped the madness. ABC's Jeff Zeleny is in Columbia, Maryland tonight, not far from Washington, D.C., where authorities spoke just moments ago.
Another day of terror at the mall.
My manager yelled, "Everyone get in the back, in the back."
This time in Columbia, Maryland, just outside Washington, and just before lunchtime. Shots rang out, shoppers scrambling for cover, scared to death.
I do have reports of, looks like at least 3 down at this point, all on the upper level near lids and zooms.
It's the latest shopping mall shooting, more than a dozen in the last year alone, shattering a Saturday afternoon American pastime. At 11:15, police received their first calls.
Boom, and then followed by 4 or 5 more. Boom, boom, boom.
2 minutes later, SWAT teams responded, rushing in to find 3 dead. The shooter, police believe, and 2 store employees, both in their 20s. The motive is still unclear. Tanya Broughton and her best friend were enjoying a ladies' day at the mall, only a few minutes into getting their facials.
People were running either straight down the mall corridor or just running into stores. And I didn't know how safe it would be to just keep running in the open. We were in the back of the store in the fitting room area. I mean, literally just, you know, where do you go?
Yeah. See, when your son goes on a shooting rampage and accidentally guns down little girls that are playing double dutch and hopscotch, no one says a word about putting stricter gun laws on the books. And that is exactly why you would think that most of you so-called strong, independent, highly educated liberal sisters would be appalled by the fact that every time someone outside of our community goes on a Doc Holliday spree, the national snooze media gives platforms to any and every groundhog that pops his or her head up to spread anti-gun propaganda. Ask yourself that question, black woman. Why aren't these varmints popping up to say anything when your boy loses his cool and kills a lifelong childhood friend over a PlayStation or an Xbox? Or worse off, he guns down an innocent baby in cold blood while she's getting her diaper changed. And don't be angry at the white liberals for not sounding the same alarms that they sound for white America when they blow the whistle on anyone that threatens their way of life, because this is what you are supposed to be doing. Aren't you the so-called strong, independent backbone of the community? Wasn't it you who cried during the 1970s that black men weren't treating you fair and equal after many brothers barely made it out of the 1960s alive? Aren't you granted custody of black children more than 92% of the time? Don't you run more than 70% of the black households today? Isn't it you wielding the gavel at most black town hall and civic association groups? What are you doing with those degrees besides getting HR jobs and government positions? Why aren't thousands of you on Facebook right now voicing concerns over this issue instead of organizing some cruise so you and your shallow girlfriends can blow child support and 401k savings to lay on the deck of the ship begging the sun to mysteriously make all them stretch marks on your bloated belly disappear so you can catch the eye of some simp? And since you claim that you've been the one holding things down since slavery, show us something. Prove to us that you can be an effective leader, or put that apron back on and run the kitchen the way you did for Massa.
Ricky, get the door.
Where is everybody? Well, you're the first to arrive. Actually, you're an hour early. 8:30? Yes, the party's at 8:30, but it's only 7:30.
Oh, I forgot we're on daylight savings time. How could I do that? Well, may I have a drink?
Yes, please.
So tell me, are you the maid? Of course you're the maid. Why else would you be wearing that costume? Tell me, are you happy with your station life, or are you trying to better yourself?